We're here to talk about chapters 71 through 80 of Bleach, which Lawrence has just read for the first time. Lawrence, how are you doing?
Oh, doing great. Yeah, decided to get into these new chapters.
Yeah. We're actually covering an entire volume of the series here, 14 Days for Conspiracy, Volume 9, and then the first chapter of Volume 10, Tattoo on the Sky. To start things off, let's recap what you read yesterday. He finished Ichigo's training with Urahara, where he regained his hollow powers, or sorry, his Shinigami powers turned into a hollow momentarily. But Ichigo's back in black, and he, along with Uryu, Orihime, and Chad, are led by Yoichi into the path to Soul Society.
Yes.
Yeah, nice ending point yesterday of them starting off on the adventure.
Yeah, definitely a perfect ending point for that section. And yeah.
So,
sure.
What are your thoughts on the Dawn Guy, which is the entrance to the Soul Society through the the tunnel of spirits, etc.?
It was interesting. They went through that thing, and there was like and then I couldn't quite like there was like some sort of phenomenon that was happening that was supposed to be like a once like in a 7 year like thing that happened when they arrived. So I don't know if that was like intentional or if there was something that we'll figure out with that. But that was kind of weird. And then Orihime used her fairies to ward it off with a shield, and I think Yoichi was like kind of like pissed off because he was like, I was warning Ichigo that he shouldn't use it because then he might get sucked in and die, and then that would happen to you too. So we're really lucky that worked out. Yeah. So yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, the first instance of like some fishy stuff going on with this Soul Society place that I feel like continues throughout the rest of the 10 chapters that I've read here.
All right. Well, they land in Soul Society after making it through the Dawn Guy, and they come. They just Ichigo decides, let's try and just storm right in, and down come the walls to guard the Soul Society, along with one of the gatekeepers for the walls, Jidambo. What were your thoughts on Jidambo?
Jidambo, yeah, he seemed like a spoiled guy. Like they were fighting. He was doing his job, and then Ichigo took out both of his axes, and I liked how they had that moment where Jidambo like admitted defeat and was like you come I like you. You seem like a good guy. And he tried to help him out and open the gate, and then without going too far into like what happens next, it was also the fact that the people that lived out in those like outer slums of the Soul Society seemed to really have a ton of respect for him. Just shows that he definitely is a good person, and yeah, seemed like a solid dude.
Well, let's. I can already tell what you're looking to get into next, and that is. Sorry, I'm just trying to get my. Okay, this would be. I think it's this one. No. Stop. Sorry, they're named the same for the tab I'm trying to pull in from the site. They just say latest, so it's not very helpful.
Oh.
All right, here you go. Thoughts on Jin?
And so that's the guy who also earlier that was talking to Byakuya, right? Like he's one of the guys. Yeah. Before during the previous meeting, I thought he was going to be like a more like understanding, nicer guy, but like on this iteration, the fact that he just like straight up cut the Jibando's arm off, and he uses like not like just disrespecting Ichigo from moment one. He really kind of seemed like the representation of like everything wrong with the Soul Reapers in terms of just being like big bullies that kind of use their power to to like control and kind of gatekeep. So yeah, I wasn't a fan of him for sure.
Yeah. I don't know. So in the translation you're reading right now, does it come across correctly that he's supposed to speak with a country accent?
No.
Okay. Yeah, something to know is that he's technically supposed to speak with what you would call a country accent in Japan, where he says things like things are abbreviated more so, less formal. He says things like have to instead of have to, and so he'll say things like ta. Yeah, he'll just do more informal, relaxed pronunciation. So
Gotcha.
he has a sort of country vibe to him that's supposed to make him, I guess, seem a little more at ease and a little
like humble, like
no, a little more cavalier as a
cavalier.
result.
Okay, cavalier. Gotcha.
Yeah, that's it. That's kind of the impression I think he's supposed to give off with the actual country accent that isn't necessarily always represented.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, it is a little awkward like that in choosing to translate from Japanese into English in terms of you can actually express accent through Japanese in the written language.
Right.
So that's not something that's always translated over by whoever the team is.
Yeah, like after hearing that, like I understand like what the differences are of this from like other adaptations of like and well animes and mangas and stuff like about like the difference between like country side Japan and like the more city like Tokyo, Kyoto like aspects. Yeah. So okay, that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, Jidambo says, "You beat me fair and square. I'll let you in." And Jin is there to say, "Nope." Yep. And pretty surprising attack there with his weapon.
Yeah.
Just pushes Ichigo all the way back from pretty far away.
Right. And I was definitely wondering like was he trying to kill him with that and it just didn't work out, or was he like trying to like push him out because there's like some other thing that he doesn't want him to die yet, there's like some other thing he's waiting on, like I don't know, so I was wondering what was going on with that as well.
Yeah, Jin's a mysterious one.
Yeah.
I really like his character design. Definitely if he's modeled after a snake is the idea, which is why his eyes are always supposed to be in a slit format.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So what were your thoughts on Ganju?
He seemed a pretty brash guy. I like the one thing, like the one trope I kind of get tired of for the manga anime is like the whole the shonen protagonist and the guy who's eventually going to help him out, like have a fight out of like some miscommunication, like misunderstanding that like it would easily be cleared up after like 5 seconds of like talking, but then they just fight and then eventually they meet up and they're like, oh, I didn't know that you're going to be the guy that was going to help me do this thing, and then they fight again, and then whoever's like the leader of the whole thing like beats them both up and is like, you guys need to get along. Like it is a little that whole thing's like a little bit tired for me, but I mean he seems like a fun character, so like I'm there was interesting that he had to like leave at 9 o'clock or whatever. Like there was a certain time where they like, I guess there was some like event that happened that they had to meet up for.
It was his curfew. He had to go meet Big Sis.
Oh yeah, the curfew. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I think what kind of drives him is still like left to be revealed in terms of like why he is the way he is and what his family's gone through. We'll talk about that once we get closer to the end of the chapter, I assume. But
I mean, we can talk about it now.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like they mentioned that his brother died loving Soul Reapers and as a Soul Reaper, so their family seems to have some sort of weird background with this group of people. And so that definitely seems like it's going to be explored further in the coming chapters.
What do you think of his sister Kukaku?
Oh, she was chill. She It was cool. I guess what's the Yorichi's the cat's name again, right? That's the cat.
Yeah, Yoriichi.
Yoriichi. Yeah, so it seemed like she has a lot of respect, or is like works under that him, and so yeah, it's definitely going to be cool to see like how their connection came to be and why she's so like trustworthy, trusting like whatever Yoriichi is saying. Yeah, so again, it seems like we're going to get further information as to like what they've gone through, why her arm is why one of her arms is missing, and all of this stuff. So yeah, definitely a lot left to be deciphered.
All right. Well, so Byakuya was the first captain you met. Last time you also met Jin and then Kenpachi. And this time you meet another captain briefly, Captain Aizen, Sosute Aizen. What were your thoughts on Aizen?
Yeah, definitely the best favorite captain that I've encountered so far. He's actually like questioning the things happening within the Soul Society, like the fact that Rukia's sentence is ridiculous relative to what her charges are, and that they're shortening the amount of time before execution. Like he seems to be asking a lot more questions, which I'm kind of like, why are all these people like just like, oh, this is just how things go? But it's like, no, it kind of doesn't seem like this is how all things are supposed to go. And yeah, and it was good. And Renji's also starting to grow on me too, because he seems to also kind of be like a little torn about like his feelings over Rukia is a friend of his being sentenced to death, and I think Aizen's like questions definitely are ringing in his mind a little bit too as well. So yeah, definitely seems like there's going to be some sort of I won't want to say rebellion, but some sort of like at least like um questioning of like what the Soul Reaper, like what's going on with the Soul Reapers as they are now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Aizen's an interesting man. You'll see more of him as time goes on.
Right.
So we also get Renji was the first vice captain we meet. You get to briefly meet some additional ones here that I'll go ahead and bring up. You get to meet vice captain of the 7th Division, Iba. That's a mistranslation. I don't know. It says Iha. What did you think of Iba?
I mean, the haircut's funny. He looks like he's like got the Wesley Snipes haircut, like from like the 90s Wesley Snipe. So that's fun. And then the second person down there, that's Aizen's Momo. That's the vice captain,
Hinamori.
Hinamori.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean, she seemed nice enough. Like she was definitely concerned about her captain. It sounds like that the questions that he's been having. I don't know if it's the questions that he's been having or some other thing that has been like affecting his personality lately. So I guess she's concerned that he's acting abnormal. So definitely gonna be excited to see that explored further.
And then you meet one more vice captain at the end of the chapter.
Oh, yeah.
What do you?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, is it Matsumoto or Renkiku?
You would call her You would call her
Renkiku, I think.
It would be Renkiku. I don't know. These are some bad translations.
Yeah. I mean, obviously attractive. I mean, we'll say that. It'll take half a day.
So let me just get a clarification on her first name. Yeah, you would call her Renkiku. It's put backwards there for some reason.
Okay, Renkiku.
Or Matsumoto. I'm getting confused. Yeah, you would call her Renkiku, and you would technically call, I guess, Hinamori Momo, but she seems to be called Hinamori, I think, a little more in the...
Yeah, that's what I was throwing out there, because I was like, I mean, usually it's like the first name is the last, and it's like reverse. And okay, but there's Renkiku here, here. Yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously attractive. That's cool. In terms of like personality, I mean, not really enough to really
Yeah,
go on
you don't have
here.
enough about her personality yet, but once you actually do get to discover it, she's a fun character.
Yeah, it seems like she's paired.
Yeah.
What are you gonna say? She's paired up with this the genius um, captain. So and Renji was like, oh well, that's a pain because I guess I will see why that's a pain that she has to work under that guy. Yeah, so yeah, definitely again interesting setup for things to come.
So let's, I guess, end things with talking about the poems.
Mm-hmm.
Volume 9 poem for 14 Days for Conspiracy is "Oh, all of us dream that we are flying the skies with our eyes open."
Is that it?
Yep.
Is that it? All of us dreams with the sky. Oh, all right.
Yeah,
Like, okay.
it's fine. It's a little simpler, I
Yeah,
would
yeah.
say.
There's nothing really to read into there.
That specifically is a haiku.
Oh, okay.
So I don't think it translates very well because of how haikus are actually formed in the written language. There's
Right.
definitely a lot of stuff that we can't get with a basic literal
Yeah.
translation.
Yeah. Understandable.
Yeah. And then you started volume 10 with chapter 80. Volume 10 is called Tattoo on the Sky. And that one is we reach out with our hands, brush away the clouds, and pierce the sky to grab the moon and Mars, but we still can't reach the truth.
Yeah, I think that kind of gets into like the larger themes of like this whole arc about like kind of like the truth about like what's going on with the whole like soul society thing, like to get into like the more of like the plot elements within in terms of the soul society stuff, like the fact that there's like the slums that's on the outskirts of what's supposed to be like this heavenly serene afterlife place. Like I remember when the parakeet kid when he was being sent to the Soul Society, Rukia was like, "Don't worry, like you're being sent to like a place that's like comforting and like wonderful, and like you won't regret like leaving this life." But like now that he's here, like he hasn't met his mom yet. He's like living in this like weird slum with like all these strangers, and I'm like kind of like what's going on here? Like is like the way Rukia was describing this place, was she just like trying to hide the underbelly of what's going on with this soul society, or did she
I think the reality is that he just didn't have the full picture of
the
what
full
it would look
picture of
like,
it?
and
Okay,
yeah.
because I'm like the way she was
I mean
talking about this place.
that was still within like the first 12 chapters of the series, so I don't.
That's fair,
Yeah.
but like I'm just wondering, because like the way she was describing this soul society place, like either she was like purposefully just trying to like hide the like realities because she didn't want to just like sully their minds with such like high ideas and things that they probably would never even encounter until they die anyways, or was she I don't even know, man. Like I guess is probably what you're saying. It wasn't really like mapped out until to this point, at the moment that stuff was written.
What did you think about these 10 chapters overall?
um Yeah, I mean, I liked it in terms of like you're getting like you get to the Soul Society, you kind of realize like something's fishy here, all is not right in the land, and I guess like Ichigo is gonna like encounter, and crew is and co is gonna like encounter the everything, one step at a time. So yeah, again, and I really liked like my favorite part was probably like starting to get like into like the captains and the vice captains and getting like an understanding, like figuring out that like soon you're gonna like know like what the inner workings of this whole soul society thing works, how it's like who the power, the movers and shakers are. Like I think that's what I want to get to. Like this, the rest of it was like again kind of like setting up like how they're going to get into this place, and like the climactic battles and everything. Like that's kind of what I'm like ready to move towards.
Well, I think you will enjoy tomorrow then.
Okay, good. Right. Yeah. So
let me just see where tomorrow ends for you to remember. Okay. Yeah, I think you'll like tomorrow.
okay, good. All right.
All right. Any other thoughts before we finish?
Oh no, I think I've got all my opinions out there.
All right. Well, thanks everyone. Have a
Yep.
good one.
All
Bye.
right.